Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect episode 257. This is being recorded on Wednesday, June 13th. I'm David Lotz. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
Hello, what's up everybody?
Yasha Wilson.
Hey, everyone.
And Michelle Hillard.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
I apologize ahead of time. My voice is in a special state. My chiming in on a lot today, because I chime in so much, will probably be to a minimum this show. Anyway.
Just because you've gone down a few octaves.
Octaves?
I don't know what the correct terminology is. Doesn't mean you shouldn't talk.
Yeah, I can relate to that. For whatever reason, my voice has pretty much been acting a little tricky as well this afternoon for whatever reason, which makes it hard because I talk all day for a living, so that's fun.
Nice.
Nothing like being the challenge.
My voice is great.
Yeah, mine's pretty good too.
Sweet. Well, Bobby and Michelle.
Okay.
Bobby, you're great. Let's just say you're great.
Shucks.
On a super side note, totally changing the subject now. Do you guys, whenever you hear somebody say the word tricky, do you start singing the song tricky, 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 tricky? It's time to rock in your heads? Because man,
yeah.
like the moment somebody, I totally do. Like the moment Yasha said tricky, I totally was like, it's good to rock around this way. It's tricky. Like seriously, that just
You automatically go to Run DMC, huh?
I totally do. It's like a button. Like I hear somebody say the word tricky, and anything else they really say after that, I've completely lost because I'm singing the song in my head.
Yeah, that's a no. I do not do that. Obviously, I was about to ask you, why would you ask this question? I didn't even notice that. I heard him say tricky, but that didn't even click. Like
I heard him say tricky, and then I just faded into that. I'm glad Yasha kind of has the same problem. Do you, Yasha? You said kind of.
Yeah, I kind of hear the word. I kind of hear the song when it comes to that too. When I hear somebody say tricky, I kind of go right to the. It's to rock around, and I also go to the movie Road Trip.
Yes.
Because that is absolutely what I think of when I think of that song now. Mm-hmm. And that scene where they're in the black fraternity house, which I think is just absolutely classic. And the movie is just nonsense, but you know what? It is full of cheap, easy laughs, and I dig it.
Darn cheating. I'm with you, Yasha. We are on the same brain wavelengths, apparently. It's amazing to me how I immediately just drop every part of the conversation and just go straight into the song. And I start thinking about Road Trip, and I'm like, man, what's going on right now? So, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So what's going on, guys? Anybody watch anything they wanted to bring up, talk about? I have not. So.
Well, I think we touched a little bit on it did we, on Sunday when we tried to record some of the stuff that we've seen? Or Bobby, was that just you and I off the air? Because when we get.
So yeah, for those listening, it's Wednesday. We attempted to record a show on Sunday. It did not go as planned. It did not go well. We had some technical problems. So yeah, everything you guys talked about, no one will ever hear it, unfortunately. So if you want to re-talk about all that stuff again, please feel free.
Bobby, would you like to share first?
You know what? I'll just go in and jump in real quick, and so that way we can all have a little time to say our piece of what we may have been watching. I had a chance to watch Ocean's 8. The new movie that was with Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett and a whole bunch of other people, basically doing a spin-off of the Ocean's 11 movies. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was decent fun. Nothing that's going to move the needle in terms of that genre. But if you're going to go look for a solid movie, a little bit different than all the comic book stuff and some of the other movies that are out right now, I say it's worth a night at the movies. It's a lot of fun, and you'll forget about it a few hours later. But I think it was meant to be on that kind of level.
See, I don't know if I agree 100% with what Bobby says with that. Like, I mean, the movie was okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, I legitimately look at it as like a 5. I don't necessarily think that you need to rush out and go see it. It's a great background noise movie. Like, if you're having a party and you put that on, it's okay. I enjoyed watching all of the actresses that were in the movie just because I like most of them, save maybe Rihanna, who didn't need to be in that movie. And I talked to Bobby a little bit in regards to some of the roles that I think could have been moved around. Like, I think Mindy Kaling would have been a much better fit for the role that Rihanna did play. The movie was okay in the grand scheme of things at best. I mean, it wasn't, like you said, anything that really moved the needle when it comes to like heist movies or reinventing what, a heist movie is going to be like and that sort of thing. I mean, it was decent, I guess, but I really do look at it as like, okay, this is like a 5. Like, I went.
We lost Yasha.
Oh wow, look at Yasha. He's just so ecstatic about this movie. He just dropped out.
Oh my god.
Hello?
Hey,
your excitement level was so high, Yasha, that the technical life of world just couldn't hold on to you any longer. Had to let you go.
I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what happened, I guess. Well, I do. I got a phone call, and I guess it paused you guys. I have it on mute, but for whatever reason, if that's coming in, then it's going to pause the conversation. So I apologize for that, and I apologize to all the listeners.
It's all good. So you do not agree with Bobby?
Not necessarily. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I really felt like it was okay at best. It was a 5 for me. Like I think I said, I don't know if you caught this, but I really do think it was kind of like a really good background movie, really good to have like in the background, and that's about it when it comes to it. I wouldn't necessarily rush out to go see it. It is a nice change from some of all the superhero and the action stories and stuff, but it was just all right. I mean, it was fun to watch all the actresses because there are some extremely talented women acting in these roles, and they were fun, but I felt like some of the roles could have been reversed or changed out a little bit to make the movie a little bit more fun. I think Mindy Kaling should have been the role that Rihanna played. I don't think Rihanna should have been in the movie at all. And yeah, that's pretty much what I felt about it. That's how I looked at it.
All right.
Well, I know there was another movie we both actually saw too, and that was Upgrade. Joseph, I forget his name. Morgan Joseph Green, Morgan something. Anyway, it's I'm sure you've seen the preview where it's like the guy has the computer chip put in his head, and then he gets all like he starts going for revenge after his actually I think it's his wife gets killed, and that looked like it was going to be a straight up action movie. I will say it starts off a little slow, but once that chip gets in his head, everything just really kind of takes off. And I enjoyed the majority of that movie, actually, because of that. It was just really good in the way that he acts as he is why something is controlling him, even though, it's just the actor, but he does it and sells it in such a really good way. And the action scenes are really frenetic and done and filmed in a way where the camera is moving in different angles based on the action. So I thought it had a really good look to it visually, as well as the way the actors were acting within the framework of this computer chip being controlled by this computer chip. And then there's like this bad guy that's in the movie that I don't know who the actor is, but he's creepy looking in general. But the way he interacts with the main character and other characters is just so like hauntingly weird and amazing. You kind of can't take your eyes off of him because it's so creepy in a way. And the movie itself just kind of reminded me like a overall long extended episode of Black Mirror, but in a good way. And I think based on the way the movie ended, I'd really like to see more of what this world would offer.
Yasha, what'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it was decent. I thought Bobby kind of hit it on the head when it came to the acting in the movie. It was a little slow to start and a little predictable at first, but what you predict doesn't necessarily happen, which I actually enjoyed a great deal, and I think Bobby could co-sign on that, because the ending to me is what really made this movie. It was a bit of a surprise, but it was a pleasant surprise in regards to where they're taking this movie. And I can side with Bobby on the fact that I wouldn't mind seeing more of this world. I do feel like it was very it was kind of like they've tried to find actors that looked like really famous actors. You ever see like a B-grade movie and it's like, oh, well, that looks like it could be this person, but obviously they didn't have the budget to try and get that person, so they got somebody that kind of looked like that person. Because I looked at this guy and all I kept seeing when I watched the lead actor was I thought he looked like Tom Hardy. And the villain that Bobby was just referring to, I kept seeing Joaquin Phoenix. I kept seeing like a Joaquin Phoenix type of role or character where it's just kind of creepy and, a little sleazy kind of thing. I don't know why, but that's what I saw when I saw these characters. But getting back to his acting, because he has this chip in him and it's not necessarily him, the bridge between his nervous system to make him move, it was pretty phenomenal how he looked almost like a puppet and a marionette when he was moving around, and during his fight scenes, it was very creative in the sense that the directing for it made it look like he was really being controlled by a third party, which I enjoyed. And his, it was surprisingly funny in some parts, and his acting was phenomenal in that retrospect. And I did really definitely enjoy the end of the film.
Cool. Yeah, I want to see this movie.
Yeah, it's Logan Marshall Green. That's his name.
Logan Marshall Green.
And he does get that in real life. He's heard people and know that they call him like Baby Tom Hardy and stuff like that. So
Baby Tom Hardy.
It is kind of weird.
I didn't know that, but that's what I saw when I watched the movie. I was like, he looks like Hardy. And the other guy looked like Joaquin Phoenix to me. Like, it just looked like they couldn't afford them, so they decided to get these two guys to do the movie. And I was just like, this is crazy. So, but it was still good.
Something else I got a chance to see that I'm pretty sure Yasha didn't see is Hereditary. And I don't know if you guys had heard anything about this movie.
No, that was going to be my next question. I thought nobody had seen it. And I was going to say, like, man, no one's seen this. I'm depressed. I haven't seen it. And I'm curious about it. It's funny, too. Before you say anything, I was listening to a local radio show here in Orlando a day or two ago. And I think one of the DJs had said something about seeing it, and were getting a bunch of callers who were sharing their thoughts. All of these callers, by the way, like just fucking hating on this movie, like absolutely hating on it.
Wow.
And it's not surprising to me at all, because it's like, I don't know. Before you say anything, Bobby, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but my take on this movie is that because we keep hearing, man, this is some scary shit. This is like the scariest movie in like a really long time. It's really frightening. But when I see the trailer and I hear those remarks, my thoughts are not that it's going to be the kind of movie that I'm going to be hiding my face during, like throughout the film. This is going to be more of an experience I would think of like The Witch, which is like it's atmospheric and its creepiness, and maybe there's some shit that goes down, but it's not like a Paranormal Activity scary or a Blair Witch Project scary. It's not like that. Like, and I think all these people calling in, I get the impression we're thinking, oh, it's going to be that kind of scary film. I'm going to be like jumping out of my seat all the time. And no, that's not what this kind of movie is, but I haven't seen it. So now I'm curious, Bobby, like, am I nuts?
No, you pretty much nailed it. That's kind of how it is. It's more atmospheric, and like how The Witch is, it's a slow burn. I believe the movie's like 2 hours. I think it could be somewhere a little bit longer than that, but yeah, it's right around that mark. And it just takes its time in telling this story and really setting the mood and you getting into the characters. And for those who don't know really what the premise of it is, it's about this family who the mother of the family, her mom passes away right in the beginning of the movie, and there's this air of something weird about her mom, and that kind of plays out with the daughter that she has that seems to be autistic of a nature, and she is able to see these little things and images of her grandmother, and you're kind of pulling at the strings of what's really behind this family and what's going on, and it really does a good job of building itself up to where it starts to ramp up, and then gets really crazy. And it's sort of in the same way that something like Mother did, did, but not in, it doesn't go like sort of off the rails in the way that movie does. It just really spends its time developing these characters and really building up to the crazy. And it reminds me of something that's old school, kind of like Rosemary's Baby, or, I mean, I know a lot of people have been comparing it to The Exorcist, and it's not like in that sense of The Exorcist, but it's in the vein of the movie isn't all about the immediacy of scaring people. It's building something. It's giving you it in doses and in ways that kind of is unsettling. And I think that's what the movie does really, really well. And this was another movie that by the end, it had me interested in what could happen next. Like if there was some more of this story that could be told, how would it unfold? Where would it go from there? Because it was very unsettling, like I said, and even days later, it had me kind of in my head thinking about some of the stuff that happened in the movie and some of the imagery and everything. So, yeah, I really liked it, but I can see why a lot of people really didn't like it as well.
Yeah, I got that impression listening to these people's reactions. I'm like, you guys thought you were going into one thing and you got something completely different, right, and now you're just pissed off. And yeah, anyway, like they probably heard was like, man, this movie's scary, you got to see it, and that's all they probably heard,
right.
Anyway, well,
I did get to see one other thing. Okay. When we had our break, what was the last? Was it Memorial Day? Was our last holiday break?
I guess so.
I think it was over Memorial Day or maybe the weekend after, but it's been so long since we had talked about stuff that we watched. I guess I never had a chance to mention it, but I had a chance to watch all 3 seasons of Channel Zero, which is a sci-fi show. It's an anthology series. They're all about, each season is like 6 episodes long, hour episode, and real easy to binge through. And it just is about these different sort of settings of horror. What do you call them? Like myths, not myths. Urban legend kind of things. And it plays off of that in a 6 episode arc for each season. And like I said, there's been 3 seasons of it, and it was really good. It's really well done. And at this point, I think maybe my favorite one of them might have been Butcher's Block, because it's just kind of brutal and weird and very creepy in a sense of the same way I was talking about Hereditary. It kind of gives you that kind of feeling and vibe to it because of the way the story unfolds. But if anyone's interested in anything horror based and they've seen everything that's at the movies have to offer, then I would suggest trying to check out Channel Zero on Sci-Fi.
Sweet. Cool. Thank you. So yeah, other than stuff that's out there to watch right now, there in the meantime for the past like week and a half or so has been a flood of trailers.
Oh yeah.
For whatever reason, this has become like trailer week like I said, more than a week now, but it just feels nonstop at this point. I mean, obviously we always get trailers, but I don't know, this has been kind of nuts. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't know if you have all the movie trailers that came out, but I have a list, and maybe you might have a list as well. But if you
I have a list.
something,
I do have a list.
Okay.
I have a feeling it's not complete, so I'll go through this list. If there's anything I don't have in there, please let me know, because, like I said, I'm sure this is not everything.
Okay.
And you know what? I don't know if we want to just kind of quickly talk about some of the ones that we've all seen as I go through the list, or I can go through it all first. I don't know how you guys want to handle it, but maybe
I say run through them all, and then we'll kind of jump in there.
So this is what I've got. I've got A Star is Born, Bad Times at the El Royale, Bumblebee, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, London Fields, Mortal Engines, Operation Finale, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Suspiria, The Girl in the Spider's Web, The Lego Movie 2, the second part, The Old Man and the Gun, Widows, White Boy Rick, Halloween, First Man, Dumbo. We also got on Amazon the Jack Ryan trailer for that show. That's the stuff I have on my list, but I have a feeling I'm forgetting some things.
Not much, honestly. You pretty much covered everything I had. The only other ones that I saw that were out there, and maybe they were just slightly before this whole flood came, but there was the newest Christopher Robin trailer. There was also a Mowgli trailer, and then there was The Nun that just came out today trailer for the spinoff of the Conjuring series.
Okay.
Right.
Is it just called Nun?
I think it's just called The Nun, yeah.
The Nun, okay.
So that's a lot.
That's a whole lot.
That's a whole lot.
I will.
It's been enough that we could easily spend hours dissecting trailers and talking about all this stuff. I mean, my way of looking at it is, and I want to ask this question first before we even kind of get into all of the ones that we've seen and we want to talk about. But I know I haven't seen all of these. I've seen a good amount of them. And I don't know if any of us, maybe Bobby, has seen all of these trailers. But I wanted to kind of go around the table. Like, of all of the trailers in this group that you have seen, what's the one that really stands out, that really, like, I don't know, that hit you, that you like the most, that you're now probably looking forward to seeing the most, that you just... Which trailer did you enjoy the most?
I'll jump in really fast. So I was surprised, and I knew this movie was getting made and being done. I heard that Lady Gaga was on board with it, and that now my Bradley Cooper was going to be in it. And so initially I was like, yeah, like I'm curious to watch A Star Is Born. Like I'd like to see it, just because those are two pretty spectacular people in their own rights. And so when the trailer dropped, I really didn't think much of it, and I didn't watch it for a few days. And then finally I watched the trailer for A Star Is Born, and I was like, holy crap, this looks amazing. Like, I was like, oh wow, this is definitely different than, say, the original. I mean, it's the same, but like, it's different enough that it's going to be interesting. And yeah, no, Bradley looks awesome, sounds awesome, and so does Lady Gaga. Like, I don't know, this trailer surprised me a lot. I was very surprised, but I was like, holy, this looks amazing. Like, yeah, I'm super on board now. Shoot, like I was down with it earlier, but man, bring it. So yeah,
Yasha,
it does look good.
It does. I was shocked.
Yasha, what was your favorite trailer?
Well, I didn't get a chance to see A Star Is Born, the trailer for that. I saw it, but I just didn't watch it. I think so far out of a lot of that you listed, I think The Girl in the Spider's Web is really what I was drawn to. That looks like such a mind fuck, and I am all in. Like, I just want to watch it. It looks like the writing, everything looks so much fun in that, and I'm just all in. I'm down. Like, that's what stands out to me the most right now. That, and I mean, The Spider-Man one looks like a lot of fun. Like the Spider-Verse, that looks, I'll definitely watch that. That looks like a lot of fun. I'm really excited about the animation for that, so that's kind of cool. And it looks like the humor is going to be there, and that's going to be fun. But when I watched Enter the Spiders, the Girl in the Spider Web, I literally just sat there. I watched it twice, back to back, and I was just like, this looks fantastic. I'm excited for that one. That one can't come soon enough, and it's way out there.
Nice. Did you like the first film?
Never saw it.
Oh man, 2 people on this fucking show.
Oh, don't you dare, David.
Hold on a second. Did you literally just have the audacity? Did you literally just have the audacity to tell me how dare me? Because I didn't watch a movie.
I don't think I said
Mr. Hey, have you guys seen the second season of Daredevil? It's really, really good. Are you kidding me? I'm with Bobby on this one.
I can give you guys shit all I want.
No one heard that since we didn't go to the Sunday episode. No one knows that he hadn't watched Daredevil season 2 yet.
What?
Okay, so we can all agree that we all have our own little areas of improvement when it comes to either seeing film or TV or trailers or what have you.
Jeez, I was just fucking around, man. You guys fucking jumped on my ass. Forget it.
That was my question. Is this the sequel to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Is that what this is?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So I guess I should watch the first one before I watch this one?
It probably doesn't matter.
I was going to say, it's a completely different director, so it's going to be a little bit of an interesting...
I mean, I haven't read these books, but I don't think that it... I get the impression it wouldn't make a difference, but it probably wouldn't hurt.
Right.
I will do my best to try and make that happen then.
So, Bobby, what trailer spoke to you?
That is definitely a good trailer, and it did pique my interest. I absolutely need to get around to watching the first one as well. I mean, the only thing that's ever actually prevented me from watching it was just a matter of timing, because it looked good, and I know even before that movie came out, I wanted to watch the foreign version. What is it?
Right.
David, Swedish?
Yeah, I believe they're Swedish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to watch that version just because I heard so many good things about that version. And this was obviously before the first one. It's David Fincher, right?
Right.
Yeah, before that came out. So I was already on board with the idea of it. And then people said how brutal it is. And so it just seemed like something that I would be definitely into. And it was just a matter of circumstances. Didn't get a chance to watch it. But with now knowing that this is coming out, and if someone that was kind of, I don't know exactly how opposed you were to the idea of this one, but I do remember when we first were talking about the idea that they were making this, you didn't seem too on board with it. And for you to seemingly like be pretty much on board for this, that says something. And that means that I absolutely need to go back and watch that first movie. And hopefully I can get that done soon now that we're in summertime and there's a lot less on TV for me to watch. But for these trailers, honestly, it came down to 3. And you're asking me which is of the 3 of all of them, which one is the one that I feel is kind of piquing my interest the most. And it's like literally a photo finish, but I think I'm gonna go with of all Bumblebee, just because it looks so vastly different from the Transformer movies we've been having before, to the point that I didn't even watch the last Transformers movie because I already knew it was going to be garbage. And so I was just like, nah, I'm not seeing it. I'm not doing it anymore. And I really enjoyed the first Transformers movie, and then they steadily declined from there. So this Bumblebee trailer that we got kind of harkens back to that first Transformers movie to me, and it looks like it could be, because it's scaled down and we don't see as many Autobots or Decepticons. In fact, we just see one quick scene of Starscream, it looks like, in his Generation 1 colors of the type of jet plane he is, that it looks really cool. So I'm like, okay, maybe if they can scale it down and make it a little bit more personal than like the first one was, then we could be in for something special. And with Travis Knight directing, who directed Kubo and the Two Strings and did a lot of Leica stuff, I have hopes and I have my fingers crossed that it could be good. So that one just barely nudges out my second choice for what I'm really anxious to see.
Well, what's your second choice?
Oh, Widows. I don't know if you guys see that trailer or not, but
oh, that looks really good too. I forgot about that one. That does look really, really good. Star-studded cast, like real talent.
Yeah, and it has Lee Daniels is directing, who last directed 12 Years a Slave, and just Viola Davis is the sort of ringleader of this group of women who husbands, they were not good guys, it doesn't seem like, but they all die in his heist, and then the women pick up where the men left off and try to finish because other people are after them for this money that their husbands seemingly have lost. And it looks good. It just looks well directed and looks like it's going to be one of those really good, solid films that come out in the fall.
Yeah, I haven't seen that trailer.
It does look really good.
Watch that.
Oh man, it looks really good. It looks really solid.
Steve McQueen put out some excellent films. So yeah.
What about you, David?
I mean, first, in response to the Girl in the Spider's Web, yeah, there's no doubt. I was a fan of the first movie, so my displeasure with the whole idea of taking so long to make the second film and then recasting it and everything, and I'm being bummed about that. It's just like, I liked the first movie. I liked Rooney Mara in that role. Like, I really could have seen many more films, even beyond the books, of like this character, and I totally would have kept watching them. You know, kind of an anti-James Bond kind of thing. I really dug it. So I was bummed that it took so long, and then finally they're doing it, but they're recasting. And, you know, at first I'm just like, oh, fuck, man, I have to recast, and that's a bummer. But yeah, saw the trailer, and Claire Foy looks great. And yeah, does it look like the David Fincher film we got for the first film? No. I mean, do I think it's going to be as good? No, I don't. But I think it's going to be good in its own right, and it looks like a good film. I'm looking forward to it.
It looks like a solid story for sure.
Yeah.
And have you seen the Swedish version?
No, so before the David Fincher film got made, I considered it, but then basically once I heard, okay, David Fincher's making The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I was just like, you know what? I'm good. I'm just going to wait for the David Fincher film because I want to just see that on its own without having seen these other movies and, you know, having that in the back of my mind. That's why I kind of avoided them for a while. I've heard a lot of good things about them, but that was my reason for holding off.
I remember, it's so funny. I remember when Girl with the Dragon Tattoo came out, the originals from Sweden were on Netflix for a long time, and I kept seeing them, and I'm like, I really should watch these, but I really think I should watch the David Fincher movie first before I watch these, because I feel like if I watch these and I see the David Fincher film, I'm going to be really depressed. And then when it all really comes down to it, I to this day still haven't even watched the David Fincher film.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we're 3 for 4 that have not even seen this film.
I'm the only one who's seen
You're
this
the
movie.
only one that's seen the film.
Wow.
We're all a bunch of slackers.
And to be clear to everyone that hasn't seen it, like, it's definitely not Fincher's best work. No,
I've heard that. Yeah,
you know, that doesn't mean I don't like it. I do like the film, but I'm a Fincher fan, and he's made better films than this. But it's a good movie. I liked it a lot.
Right.
While we're on Fincher, David, have you seen Zodiac?
Sadly, I have not. That I have not seen.
You haven't seen Zodiac? Oh yeah.
I haven't seen it either, but it's on my list. And like you, I do like David Fincher's work, and that's one of those films I do hear in circles of movie pundits always talk about that film, and I just have not had a chance to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got to see that movie.
Go on.
But to answer your question about the trailers, like, I don't know. I honestly think the one that I had the most positive reaction to was probably Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Like,
oh, nice.
Like that teaser looked great, but this trailer, I will say, like, the teaser looked great, but part of me worried that, oh, it looks really cool. This is going to be a movie with really great animation, but maybe it wouldn't really have a great story. But when I saw this trailer, and I'm like, oh, wow, no, this, first of all, this movie now looks really awesome. Like, I love the animation. And it looks like it's going to be a solid story. Really good writing, great humor. I can't wait. Like, to see the Peter Parker Spider-Man as an older Spider-Man, which kind of in all of the films and everything we've gotten so far, we haven't seen that yet. I think will be cool. Like, this looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to see that. I think it's gonna be awesome.
I think
that was definitely my third one.
Was it? I think the one that surprised me is the one that dropped today, which was Dumbo.
Oh, yeah, that's true, Michelle, because I know you and Yasha seem to be not necessarily against, but very meh about the idea of Disney keep on remaking all of their old animation films into live action. And I've always been on the side of, I can't wait to see them, because my story's always been I hadn't really watched the cartoon versions of those movies. So for me, it's like getting to see it for the first time, essentially, even though I know essentially what happens. And I'm pretty sure I've seen Dumbo at least once, but I, can't even really tell you much about the story other than maybe the first few minutes of it. So to me, it was like, oh, okay, finally getting to see something of this film, and it's Tim Burton. And I don't know that I really saw, when I looked at it, and Michelle, I'm sure you'll speak on it, but when I looked at it, I don't know that I necessarily saw a lot of Tim Burton's flair in there. It seemed like a period piece of a movie, but maybe I'd have to go back and look at it again to see if I could see Tim Burton in that trailer. Yeah,
what I was going to say was that, and I need to watch this trailer a few more times, I'll be honest, but in seeing it, I was thinking, my initial reaction was, I like the look of it. However, it's definitely the Disney subdued Tim Burton for sure. Like, and I feel like they keep every film that Disney keeps allowing, having him do for them, he just gets like chipped away. The Tim Burtonness gets chipped away each time, and it kind of makes me sad. Having said that, though, there are a few things that kind of catch my eye, like the color palette and the way things are kind of shaped. And you can kind of pick up a little bit of that. And it kind of reminds me a bit of Big Fish. And obviously probably because of the circus kind of setting. But it's got a little bit of that going. So I will say it appeals to me. The visual looks good. Not quite as exuberant Tim Burton as we're used to. So it should be interesting. I don't know. I've been curious about this one because I wanted to see how they were going to do it. And they're obviously really expounding upon the storyline from the animated film. And I'm just curious to kind of see how it goes down, honestly. Like, I couldn't say that I'm like excited for this film. It's really just curiosity killing the cat this time, I think. But I don't know. And I wonder like how this one's going to play through in today's time. And obviously it's kind of a period piece, set in the Great Depression, obviously. But I wonder how people are going to find it interesting enough in today's world. How is it going to really translate? Because I know adults now that are like, I've never seen Dumbo, like the original animated one. And I don't think they care. I just wonder, are people going to care about this film? Is really my question. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch the trailer some more. And yeah, at this point, it's a case of curiosity. It's just getting the better of me with this one.
Yeah, I think that's my huge skepticism about this movie, is that it seems like the kind of concept that works as an animated film, but as a live action film, I mean, if anybody's going to pull it off, I feel like Tim Burton could pull it off.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's just a quick teaser we got.
It was very...
So basically, it's all about, like, what is the general look of this movie going to be? And I do like the way it looks.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the story and if audiences are going to react to it, I don't know. I think
the big question.
There's a very good chance it could be a very, very, very good movie. But then I don't know. Like, I say this as someone who I loved Tim Burton films in my childhood, and I have since fallen out of love with Tim Burton.
We've talked about this on the air before.
He's no longer making the movies that he made back in the 80s and maybe early 90s. Like, those days are gone, and I've not been pleased with the direction he's gone, basically making, I don't know how you would describe them, but anyway.
I think there's been exceptions that have popped in and out in the last, say, 20 years, but I feel like for the most part, you've not been happy with him basically since the new millennia.
Basically, yeah, it's been a while. Anyway, that'd be a whole nother conversation. But but with that said, I feel like, he could pull this off, and I hope it's great.
We'll see.
But I don't know. The whole flying elephant thing should be interesting in live action.
It'll be, I mean, and we're saying live action. It's computer generated.
Well, obviously, it's Dumbo himself is.
So it'll be interesting to see.
I felt like, I'm on the same boat with you. It looks interesting, but I can see what you're saying, Michelle. I just want to chime in on what you said and echo that. It really felt like, I don't know. I mean, I remember, I'm sure, reading the cast before and reading who's directing it. I completely forgot all about that when I was going in to watch this trailer. So I was, again, surprised that Burton was directing it. And then I kept watching it, and it didn't feel like a Tim Burton film. He felt stifled, like with his creativeness and what the film is going to be. So I really didn't see that. I completely forgot that Keaton was in the movie. And I was pleasantly surprised to see some of the actors and actresses that they have in this film to make it that much, more appealing and that special. I think it's going to be successful, whether people have seen the original Dumbo or not, because of the mouse's ears above the title. And people are going to go see Disneyland. I mean, they're going to go see Disney. It's the same reason why if you go to Disneyland today, I mean, you guys don't know this, but if you go to Disneyland today, the Dumbo ride is one of those airplane rides where you just get in the Dumbo and then you ride around in a circle. Always has a ridiculously long. I mean, it's like stand in line for 2 hours so you have 40 seconds of entertainment. Like, that's legitimately how bad it is. And I just really feel like it's, can't be the same generation of people that are like, these are people that are Disney lovers, and they're the ones that are going to go see this movie, and they'll watch anything that comes out with Disney because more times than not, it's Disney friendly. But it's kid friendly. But I mean, it's very clear that, Burton has been kind of stifled when it comes to his directing creativeness when it comes to this movie. And I'm interested to see how they're going to pull it off and what they're going to have. Some of the characters in the movie that weren't necessarily PC from, way back. They're going to have those characters in the movie. And if they're going to just completely, take out the drunken, I mean, well, it's like they're not, but because they showed a clip of that at the same time. So there's going to be some really fun parts of this movie that, I think will work, and I think that some that won't necessarily work. And it's going to be interesting to see what they kind of adapt. It's the same thing that I'm interested to see how they're going to do The Lion King. Like, I'm really interested to see how that works out too. Like, that's going to be a challenge as well. So, not to mention Aladdin too. So, I mean, we have, how do you take away and change what Robin Williams did, which was so perfect? It's going to be interesting to see how they do it.
That film will be interesting to see, and I will say I'm very curious for whenever we do get a trailer for that. But I don't question Will Smith's capabilities when it comes to what he does, but it'll just be interesting to see how it adds up in comparison to something that I've loved and cherished for a ridiculously large portion of my life. Not to give myself an age number here. So anyhow, so switch gears completely out of Disney. I've got to ask, because this one's kind of on me. So to go to basically television, Netflix put out, or not Netflix, Hulu. No, Amazon.
Amazon.
I'm just going to go through them all. I'm going to go through all the apps on my Roku.
Go through all the streaming services? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. So, sorry, I'm like, who's it? So, Jack Ryan. Yeah.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
I don't know where I stand on this one.
I'm just throwing this out here. I'm just curious to see which one of you guys are going to bite. Jack Ryan. And go.
Is this the one with John Krasinski?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll jump in and say I totally buy into John Krasinski as Jack Ryan. Like,
yes.
I think he's kind of he might be the perfect casting in that he's not the kind of actor that seems like he's too much action star, but he could be. He's pretty much like right there for me. Like I could totally see that this is the guy who's just an analyst, but he can take care of himself. You know, John Krasinski.
He's got to kick
works.
some ass and take some names. He'll do what he got to do.
The show itself, I don't know. Like, for one, watching it, it looks like it's got some good action when they're out in the field doing their thing, but there's also an aspect to the production quality that almost feels like a CBS show, and not.
Oh, I get, yeah.
And not so much like what I would prefer, like an HBO show, you know, or a Netflix show. Like,
there is like almost a glossiness to it.
There is like the scene with the helicopters dropping down to come pick him up at the party, which is like, okay, like there was, I don't know why I'm thinking that as the example, but it feels like something you'd see in a CBS show.
I will agree with that. Yeah.
And I wish this was more of this kind of production quality we've seen from Netflix or, you know, like I mentioned, or HBO or something.
Which is interesting because I feel like, and this is my problem with the Amazon shows, I feel like some of them really have great production value and some of them I'm like, where did y'all throw the money at? Like, I feel like it's a coin toss. You just don't know what you're going to get with each one from Amazon. That's my problem.
Right. Have I watched any Amazon shows? I don't think so. So I couldn't speak to that. Yeah, sorry. Bobby, do you have any thoughts on this one?
I mean, I'm kind of right there along there with you in that, although I will say with John Krasinski, it's a little bit harder for me still. I'll have to really fall into the flow of the show before I can remove the idea of that being Jim, being Jack Ryan, just because he's so ingrained in my head that way. But when I watched A Quiet Place, I didn't feel like that was Jim from The Office. It just felt like, you know, it was John Krasinski playing this role of this father. So I'm sure if I watched a few episodes of it, I would fall into the fact that, okay, yeah, he's Jack Ryan. It's just that, like you said, I didn't really necessarily find any fault within the way it looked per se, or the action or anything of that nature. It just, to me, didn't really move the needle in terms of how much stuff we've seen recently on TV or in the movies, and my excitement level being there, like, oh, this looks so, you know, awesome. I can't wait to see. It didn't do anything like that for me, which isn't to say that it wouldn't be intriguing and good and have some sort of espionage or political sort of, I don't know, exercises that it goes through to where it warrants you kind of getting deeper into it. But right now it feels like I'm wrapped up in a lot of shows or whatever that have that kind of air about it, to where you're really anxious to see the next episode because they're so interwoven in a way that there's this mystery box kind of thing going on. Like, for instance, Westworld, it has me all, you know, anxious to see the next episode because of the mystery aspect of it. Whereas with where I will agree with you as far as this Jack Ryan series goes, to me, it makes it feel like it's a CBS show in the sense that it seems like it's more just of a procedural based on what I see in the trailer. It doesn't seem like it's anything that's going to keep me totally invested. It'd be like something where I could miss a few episodes and jump back in and not have missed anything, which could be wrong. Maybe they will have some sort of interwoven story that goes throughout the season that's really truly compelling and keeps you kind of coming back for it. But based off of what I saw in the trailer, it didn't really feel that way.
Yasha, did you watch it?
I've seen the trailers for it. I'm in. Like, I like it. I don't know when I'll have time to watch it. I like the idea of John Krasinski as Jack Ryan. I'm with Bobby in the sense, though, like, I do see Jim when I see him, but I think Krasinski has done a very, very good job of distancing himself from that role. Like, everything that he does, I don't think I've seen anything with him after The Office has gone off the air where he's clean shaven. He's always having a beard. He's always doing very diverse and different roles from the character that he played in The Office. Small or big, mostly big as far as I can remember, but just really transitioning from being a typecast character. And he knows that people see him as Jim, but he's changing it and working really hard and finding these different roles where it puts him in a position to spread his wings a little bit and his creative chops, because I think he's very talented and he gets it, and that's why he's doing as well as he's doing, and things are happening for him, because I think that he understands how to transition, to make that transition, and he's doing a damn good job of it, because I do see him as Jack Ryan.
Yeah, I don't know. The Jack Ryan franchise, the Jack Ryan character is just, it's, I don't know, like, it's one of those things that I feel like there's been these constant attempts to make a bigger thing out of it, and it never really catches on.
Right.
And I've liked a lot of those attempts. Single actor plays him in one movie, and then that's all we ever get. And I haven't disliked a lot of them. Some of them I've enjoyed. Of course, for me, it'll always be Hunt for Red October. I'll absolutely love that movie, and yeah. Alec Baldwin is my Jack Ryan.
I mean, the reason why
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
What?
Oh,
Wait,
my
really?
word. Yasha.
I'm not kidding. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Wow.
Man.
But okay, so David, going back to what you just said, for you, Alec Baldwin is really your Jack Ryan?
That was the first film. That's just the one I really dug. And I'll say this, it's been a while since I've seen the Harrison Ford films. But for whatever reason, those films never really did anything for me.
It's been a while since I've watched this too.
I feel like that about all the rest of the people who've tried to play Jack Ryan. The ones that stick with me the most are the Harrison Ford ones. And then I do like the Alec Baldwin one, but it was just the one. So it doesn't,
Right.
I mean, it was a really good movie, but I feel like the movie was really good, more so than Alec Baldwin as Jack Ryan was really good. I don't know. I mean, but I think, Harrison Ford. What's that?
I mean, I was just going to say, I don't know. I mean, I agree. I think the movie is very good, but I don't know. Alec Baldwin worked for me in that role. And for whatever reason, Harrison Ford did not. And I know I'm in the minority there. I know most people really like those films.
Yeah.
And I totally get that I'm in the minority where I'm not saying I particularly enjoyed Ben Affleck as Jack Ryan, but I like Some of All Fears. I don't
remember those movies. His movie, I should say.
Some of All Fears was his film. And for what it was, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. And I thought he was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. But anyway.
I do think I didn't like him as Jack Ryan. But, I mean, look, he had to fill some big shoes. So that's probably had a lot to do with it for me. And then... who was the next?
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Yeah, that one. I thought it was okay, but it didn't really get me excited for the franchise all over again in that way. You know who? I could just be kind of saying this maybe because he's just that person that you kind of think of and put into every movie role at this point in time. But someone I think who might have been a good Jack Ryan is oh crap, all of a sudden his name just left my head. Hold on. Ryan Gosling. He might have been
I knew that's what you were going to say. I don't know why, but I just had a feeling that's what you were going to say.
I could see that. Michelle, what were you going to say?
I mean, I was just going to say that I feel that when it comes to the whole franchise, the whole reason why it keeps getting built back up and keep trying to throw movies at us, and even though they keep switching up the Jack Ryans and the different actors and different time frames, is because the books, the stories are so good. Like, they're excellent storytelling, and they're captivating as hell, and they're really riveting. And even though we've bounced around on the timeline as far as the films go, and then we've bounced around with different actors in the role itself, the reason people do keep coming back to Jack Ryan is because the stories are so freaking good. Like, they're really good. Mm-hmm. And like you're saying, like Sum of All Fears, good film, bad Jack Ryan. So I feel like we might, if they did the story that they're doing with this version right, we could have a hit. Like, this could be seriously good stuff, because I'm with you guys. Like, John Krasinski, I think he's a great Jack Ryan. So I'm excited. Like, I'm like, man, if they just get the story going, we're good. We're solid here.
When is that dropping? Sorry, I'm looking now.
Like a month and a half, right?
Is that soon? Maybe.
It was August? Yeah.
Yep, August 31st.
Yeah, we're halfway through June, so that would be a month and a half.
Not too bad.
Anyways, that was my 2 cents on the whole Jack Ryan thing. So yeah, how about that?
How about that, Jack Ryan?
How about that?
I never really said. Yeah, I enjoyed the A Star Is Born trailer too. I thought it looked good.
Yeah.
I didn't really know much about it, and it looks great. The Bad Times at the El Royale looks interesting to me.
It does.
It looks like one of those movies that could also just be very bad.
Yeah, it looks like it basically could be a coin toss. That's a lovely matinee film, I think.
When you get these movies that have a lot of different great actors in them, but then they really look like they should be a lot of fun, and then I feel like they always come out and they're like 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you're always like, well, I don't have to waste my time, I guess, seeing it in the theater. It feels like that's what this movie's going to be. I've already written it off. Fuck Bad Times at the Royale.
Wow, that was a quick switch. Jesus.
I kid. And Bumblebee, you mentioned it, Bobby. Yeah, Bumblebee looks... I'm not a Transformers movie fan either, and this looks very different. I'm looking forward to it. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, the one movie out of the list, I didn't have anything bad to say about most. Is Bad Times at the El Royale. I don't know. It looks like it could be interesting. I'm curious to see what Drew Goddard did there. But
that's right. I forgot that's Drew Goddard.
What's that?
I said I forgot that's Drew Goddard. It gets a check mark back up then for me. Oh. Okay, I'm back to wanting to see it.
Back in.
Sweet.
The one that really kind of just, I feel like, I don't know, they really going to have to work to sell me more on it, is the Mortal Engines. Just from what I've seen, I don't know. It's not doing it for me. It's not really getting me excited. And I get that the books are really popular, but for whatever reason, what I'm seeing out of it isn't really got me saying, oh, I can't wait till this movie comes out. And it's Peter Jackson, so you would think I'd be a little bit more excited about it, but not yet.
Well, that's the thing, is Peter Jackson producing. It's not directing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on Mortal Engines. I think it looks like it could be good, but I'm still not totally sold on it. My reaction to it is, when I see it, I feel like, am I getting another like Jupiter Ascending kind of thing? Like, that's some reason I get that vibe from this movie. And as in it looks like a movie that's just really creative, and it's got a really interesting looking characters in it, and cool looking machines and stuff, and flying things, but in the end, I don't know. That's just the vibe I get from it. I'm worried about it. Michelle, I think you're excited about it, aren't you?
I'm very intrigued into it. I have not read any of the books, so I don't really know much about it. But I mean, the teaser came out, and I saw the teaser, and I was blown away by the teaser trailer. I was like, Jesus, that looks awesome! Like, holy crap! Like, the actual machines themselves, basically representing like areas of land or cities or countries, like, that survived some kind of a fallout of the world, like apocalypse kind of thing situation. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. And then I watched this trailer, and I felt like I was kind of in and out of it. I was constantly kind of going, this looks good. oh, I don't know about this. This doesn't, I don't know. And then I'm like, oh, it looks good. And it just kind of kept going back and forth, like with different shots. And yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping there's a good story there. I'm hoping there's a story there and that you'll actually connect with the characters on a deeper level, that you'll care about what's going to happen to them. I'm tired of seeing films that are like this, where there's cool effects and there's cool things happening, but you don't connect with any of the characters. And you're like, I really don't care if he lives or dies. Like, or, whatever. Like, you just don't have a care for what's going on with the storyline itself. And I'm sad of seeing these kind of films. And even then with the effects, I feel like there were shots that I'd look at and I'd go, man, those effects look amazing. And then there were other shots where I'd go, wow, that looks really bad. And it just kept pulling me in and out. So I'm mixed on this. I don't know where I'm going to fall, but I'm intrigued at the same time.
Cool. And then we're pretty much running out of time, but one trailer I can't believe I haven't commented on yet, and I actually can't wait for, is First Man.
Yes. Oh, speaking of Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, new Damien Chazelle film that it looks really, really good. I can't wait for that. So
no, it looks fantastic.
I didn't get a chance to watch that one.
Oh, Yasha, jump on it. First Man. Let me tell you, that trailer looks awesome. It's that movie. I'm a huge sucker for films about space and America's history in space, travel and exploration. And oh, dude, yeah, I'm super on board with this one. Like, check mark, I'll be there.
I mean, it's not like Ryan Gosling is a slouch or anything. He's always really good, especially lately for me. He's been really good.
Yeah.
And some of his earlier stuff I thought were either okay or just sort of, right around the border of decent. But in the last few movies he's done, he's really got me interested in seeing whatever he does. But more so than him being in this movie, it's the fact that it's Damien Chazelle. And right now, that guy is batting 100 for me, because with the last two movies he's done, I really, really liked, especially Whiplash. So seeing Whiplash and then him coming off that and then doing La La Land and then going into this, I mean, he's got that Midas touch for me right now. So I'm anxious to see it just based on him being involved with this.
I think Claire Foy looks solid in this too.
yeah,
I'm down.
she's got the accent work ahead of her. This and Spider's Web.
Dude, it's like the year of Claire Foy. She's been rocking it, dude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that, we've run out of time. It's time to get out of here. As always, we'd love to hear back from everyone listening. Let us know what you thought by emailing us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram. Just search for Flicker Effect, or in the case of Twitter, Flicker_Effect. And with that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening.